We are not rushing into using AI in every aspect of what we do, but we are making sure that wherever we go, we are strengthening and going deeper to make the use of AI more meaningful to our associates as well as to our overall organization.
Welcome to Technovation. I'm your host, Peter High. My guest today is Anil Bhatt. Anil is the Chief Information and Digital Officer of Norfolk Southern, a Class 1 freight railroad operating in the eastern United States that earned $12.1 billion in 2024. Anil has been in his role for a bit more than a year, and in that time, he's helped modernize the practices of the railroad while enhancing what the company does with artificial intelligence, among other technologies and innovations. He's also a board member of RailLink Corporation, and previously, he was the Chief Information Officer of Elevance Health.
And now for a word from our partner, Airia.
There's a reason most enterprise AI initiatives never make it to production. You can't find a platform that's both powerful and secure enough. The result? AI budgets burn with zero business impact, but not anymore. Airia is the enterprise AI platform that delivers speed without compromise. Unlike other platforms that force you to choose between fast deployment or secure operations, Airia brings speed and security together. Launch AI quickly without cutting corners on compliance, scale rapidly without sacrificing governance, move at the speed of business without moving past your security requirements. Fortune 500 companies across finance, healthcare, retail, legal, and more choose Airia because they deliver what seemed impossible. Enterprise AI that's fast enough to beat the competition and secure enough to protect your most sensitive data. Ready for AI at full speed with zero compromise? Visit Airia.com to see the platform in action. That's AIRIA.com. Simplify enterprise AI. And now on to the interview. Anil, welcome back to Technovation. It's great to speak with you as always.
Always a pleasure to talk to you, Peter. Thank you very much for having me here.
That's a great pleasure. Why don't we begin with Norfolk Southern's business, if you would, Anil? Provide a brief overview as to the business you're in.
Norfolk Southern is one of the historic railroad, Class 1 freight railroads in the United States. And frankly, when I joined out here, I was amazed at knowing that it covers approximately 20,000 miles of network here in the United States. And frankly, majority of the U.S. population gets served by the work that happens at Norfolk Southern. We cover a lot of manufacturing bases. We have connections almost to every major container port in Atlantic coast, as well as major ports in Gulf and Great Lakes. So really proud of the critical nature of the service we provide to the U.S. economy as well as to the people. And frankly, I've been amazed at the work that happens out here on a day-to-day basis to just keep the U.S. economy going.
That's a great overview. And as you say, one of the key parts of our economy that moves goods from place to place. Describe your purview as Chief Information Digital Officer, if you would.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think, as I joined Norfolk Southern, the expected role was of a technologist who can come in and kind of move Norfolk Southern in the right direction in terms of not only creating a technology foundation which is resilient and performing, but also look at the future and kind of identify what are the things that we need to do from a long-term perspective. So, in my role, I lead the full spectrum of technology here at Norfolk Southern. Really from the core IT to cybersecurity to data, digital platform and innovation, all these areas are where my focus is on a day-to-day basis. And as I've learned more and more, I feel that my goal is to make sure that I use technology and lead the team to improve how railroads are run and as well as how we support our customers on a day-to-day basis. Everything, frankly, we do here ladders up to the three outcomes that we kind of pursue every day. One is basically making sure that, the railroad industry and what we do is ensuring that the safety is there in everything that we do. We are always able to run a resilient network, but with the priority towards the safety culture that we have. And then making sure that the operational effectiveness of the railroad is the key pillar of how we perform on a day-to-day basis. The insights that we provide, the details that we provide, the inspections that we do. There's a lot that happens on the operational effectiveness side that we need to make sure that from a technology perspective we are doing. And then frankly, Peter, you and I have discussed Elevance Health and the healthcare sector, but consumers and associates are the most important piece out here in Norfolk Southern also. So everywhere we go, how do we talk to our consumers. How do we make sure that our employee experience is the best in class is also something that we always focus on. And towards that, we are using AI, we are using a lot of tools, and we are changing our practices on a day-to-day basis to make sure that that's what we do. So, that's my job on a day-to-day basis, and I'm pretty excited about, what we have in store from a near-term perspective, but also from a long-term perspective.
You mentioned setting a tech foundation that's resilient and performing was the way you put it, and understandable, of course, in such a foundational element of our economy as a company like yours. Can you talk a bit about some of the moves that you've undertaken in order to foster that resilience?
First of all, making sure that as a person who's coming from a different industry, it was very, very important for me to make sure that I get immersed into the railroad industry and kind of learn what is the culture that is here, what are the challenges, and what are the opportunities, obviously, as I learn more and more that come to me. And frankly, what I've seen is that there's so much going on the ground level. There's so much going on at, every mile of this 20,000 mile route that we run, that there's a lot of learnings that come by way of just interacting with people on the front line, what they go through and everything. So as I did that, one of the things that became very, very clear is that insights and data are going to play a very critical role. Making sure that we have insights into the network, making sure that we are able to look at something, how it's running, what plan changes that we have to do based on that. There's a lot that happens because of that insight that we can drive up out there, and make it available not only to the leadership, but we may make it available to the frontline people who can make better, quick decisions with that. So that's one of the key things that we have enabled out here. The second one is reliability and making sure that we have tools and technologies available to run the network safely. There's a lot of investment that we have done in partnership with Georgia Tech around our DTI portals. There's a lot of work we have done around our automated track geometry measurement systems out there. There's a lot of modeling that we are doing on a day-to-day basis, which is helping to make sure that we are able to look at the network, react to that, and move forward in a more efficient and secure way. And then, frankly, we have spent a lot of time to really look at the consumer journeys and associate journeys that we have in house. How are we learning from what our customers are feeling, and how we can give them an airline or a trucking experience out there. Some of the industries have experience which is better than what railroad has been able to provide in the past. So we are trying to make sure that we not only match to what they are used to, but also exceed those expectations. So there's a lot of work that we have been doing around our consumer journey. There's a lot of work that we have been doing around our improving our digital experience that frankly has provided some great results. And our NPS score in the last quarter was very testament to the work that the team has done to make sure that we keep that improving. So, really, really important for us to focus on these areas. And that's what my core focus is as we move forward.
Speaking of your team, how is your team organized? Be interested in understand like how the team is structured and how it oversees all that you just described.
One of the things that I've learned over the years is that your technology organizations should reflect how you want to make sure you support your business. And what we have done out here is that our structure is designed to balance the network while continuously improving and supporting essential day-to-day operations, right? So what I call and many of my peers call keep the lights on. So we want to make sure that we are definitely keeping the lights on. So we have a structure to make sure that we are keeping the lights on. We are really reacting or proactively monitoring some of the things that need to be adjusted if in case something happens out there. While simultaneously, we have a team that is focused on making sure that how do we enable the resilience and drive new technology and transformation in parallel to that, right? So you want to make sure you run the network, but at the same time, we have a strategy and a team that is driving transformation out there. And then, this approach actually, when I look at it, ensures that we have the operational continuity on a day-to-day basis, but also, puts us at a place wherein the innovation and adaptability to the rapid changes in the industry can be accommodated while we are running the network. So, at a high level, we have keep the lights on, which is really day-to-day operation, but also transformation that is running in parallel, but always talking to each other as we move forward. Then also, I think, I have a focus on the business strategy and where we are making sure that, we are learning from the business and the consumer side and everything, as I said, empowering our railroaders and giving them the tools and insights for them to succeed is very, very key area. So, needless to say, that means that we need to have a core data and AI strategy and a leadership which really can excel on that one. So we have that out here, which is a very, very big pillar of how we are organized. So focusing on ecosystem partnerships, making sure that we are doing what we need to do in terms of consolidating our data pool, driving intelligence on top of that, using agentic AI, using the tools that we have at our disposal these days to make sure that that is very, very critical. Then I have the security, which is application and operational technology security, which is very key to how we run our critical infrastructure. We want to make sure that we don't have exposure out there. We minimize exposure. We are running a very critical business out here, which can derail the economic power that US has. So we want to make sure that the threat actors do not get into our network and stuff like that. So there's a lot of focus on our overall security side as we move forward and the infrastructure that we run out here. So those are at a high level how we are organized. So we are keeping transformation, day-to-day running, data AI, security and strategy all moving in the same pace.
And that you've mentioned appropriately a few different times, the sanctity of data and getting that strategy correct. I have to imagine that that's now advancing further with the introduction of artificial intelligence. Talk a bit about your team's use of it. And I know from our past conversations, you have some nuanced perspectives on where it works best, but also where it's not working so well. I'd love to get that from you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think, as I came in to NS, one of the things that was very important was, our data strategy had to be solid in terms of making sure that not only are we providing a data governance and making sure that we identify what role business plays in the overall ownership of the data and everything. So we have made some good strides into that. So we are making sure that the information and the insights that we are providing are accurate, accessible, and actionable. That's the 3 A's that we talk about. We need to make sure that the accuracy is there. We need to make sure that the accessibility to the data through different modalities is there. And we want to make sure that once you have this insight, you are able to take actions that are very quick and meaningful to make sure we're moving in the right direction. So, by connecting all these data platforms, making sure that the predictive insights are there to improve the efficiency and strengthen our safety of the network is very, very key. So we are moving in the right direction on that one. But also what we are trying to do is making sure that we are not just using the data for operations, as I said at the beginning. We are making sure that customers who we do business with are able to access our digital assets and our mobile applications, and frankly, our chatbots and other things that we are providing them to get a lot of things that they would have gotten by calling us or sending us emails and everything, whether it's the real-time pricing, contracting, visibility into their ETAs and everything. So we are making sure the data and the insights are there in front of them as we move forward. And then, also what we are making sure is that, for these customers, not only we are giving them shipment information or faster response times and all and everything, but also we are making sure that these real-time insights and the ability to do things differently is available to our associates also. So people who are using tools, we are saying that, hey, this is how you can augment the way you follow a process and work on things. This is how AI can help. We have a lot of copilots launched within the company, which are enabling them to do things differently. So we are making sure that what they do is augmented with this data and AI strategy to do better, but also learn in the process to make sure that they're able to deliver not only a better outcome, but also making sure that they help us improve the processes as we go. So having said that, I think one of the most important questions these days in the industry, and what you asked, is that how is AI being implemented and where do we see success and why it's failing in some cases and everything. So, I wrote a piece recently where I said that I think, many times we need to make sure we differentiate between what AI is doing and what our focus on just the process is doing. There's a lot of improvements we can do just because we are looking at a process differently. We are just making sure that there are less handoffs. We are making sure that people are doing it efficiently and everything. But then when you apply AI on top of that, that's when you see an exponential, improvement out there. So the incremental improvement can be done just because we change the process, and there's a little bit different ways you look at the problem and solving. But when you apply AI, that's when you augment it in an exponential manner. So what is different out here is that we have taken use cases where we feel that we can show the outcomes in a very meaningful way. I can always say my developer productivity has gone up by 20%, but am I measuring it? Do I have a measure in place? How that can be proved and everything is very, very critical for every leader to have in place. And in our case, whether it's ADGMS that I talked to you about, the automatic tract and geometry mean measure system, or DTI, we know exactly how we are measuring the outcome. And that measuring the outcome and showing it really excites the organization towards using AI in a more exponential way. So we're not rushing into using AI in every aspect of what we do, but we are making sure that wherever we go, we are strengthening and going deeper to make the use of AI more meaningful to our associates as well as to our overall organization. And that's where I feel the difference is. Are you doing too many pilots out there and a lot of them are failing, then you have a culture of failure? Or are you really honing on doing few of them and making sure that there is a success out there and you're able to measure the success? And that's where the difference is, frankly, from my perspective, Peter.
I wanted to ask you also, many listeners and viewers would know there's been an announcement of the intent of Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern to merge. And I realize you probably can't get into the finer details of that proposal, but I want to talk a bit about what excites you most as you contemplate the possibility of forging the first ever transcontinental railroad in the U.S.
As it's public out here, what I can say is that this merger, frankly, in my opinion, has the potential to transform the American freight rail. When you look at everything that we talked about, by integrating our network, really advancing the rail technology, making sure that the technology like digital train inspection that we talked about, or the consumer experience that we talked about, the safety and the operational decision making that we talked about. How are you precise in terms of ability to convey to customers where that freight is at any given time? How is it seamless and more reliable for our customers? That's what is the key out there. I feel that it's a win-win for America as a whole nation. I feel that our customers are going to be a big winner out of this merger because it really helps them have a streamlined operation end to end. And frankly, for the employees, as we move to a freight rail, business, which really can compete with everything else that's in the marketplace out there and provide a best-in-class service, and is good economically as well as from a sustainability perspective, is key out there. So I feel that it's a win-win, and I look forward to seeing it come to fruition as we move forward.
Fascinating. Well, certainly we will all remain abreast of the progress associated with that, but great to get your thoughts on what might come to pass should it go through. I wanted to ask you, any other kind of trends that excite you as you look to the future, Anil? I know you're somebody who looks into the crystal ball from time to time and attempts to identify trends that might impact a business such as yours. What are some other things that are making their way onto your roadmap?
Yeah, I mean, I think what is amazing is that we just concluded our board meeting and we went to our Norfolk terminal where a lot of our coal operations are done, and also to Norfolk International Terminal out there. And as I looked at the port, frankly, logistics, while it's not looked at every day, is a very, very complex operation. And the precision, the diligence, the work that goes into making sure that the freight keeps moving around the world is amazing, right? There's so much technology that is used on a day-to-day basis, and there's so much potential of using more and more technology to make sure that we're really doing an amazing job to serve our customers, but also to drive safety and everything. So, as I was reflecting and talking to some of the board members and looking at a few things that were done out there, and the CEO was explaining how the port runs and stuff like that, I just felt that, connecting the rail with ports to trucks to warehouses through data and integration is going to be one of the key things. Really, making sure that, if I had to give you a parallel of healthcare where there's eight, medical records and EHRs which are distributed across the board and everything, and nobody can pull them together to give a one insight into a patient's lifetime journey. Similarly, there's a freight journey out here. There's a journey of a origination to a destination out there. And that journey can be connected out there. That's what excites me the most. And that journey can be made very seamless. That journey can be made very transparent. That journey can be made very, very, what I call efficient in the process. So I think there's a huge amount of technologies play that we need to kind of look at as we move forward. And then also, I think when we talk about moving faster, leading smarter, and delivering greater impact to the economy, that's going to be some things that I feel very excited about. And I think, as I look at more and more of what we are trying to do, more and more, what we are focused on, I feel there's a great opportunity of really transforming the overall logistic industry with the use of technology and the exponential technology that's coming in front of us. That's what keeps me excited as we move forward. And that's the conversation I'm having with my team every day.
Yeah, fascinating. Really interesting perspectives there. And certainly understand how logistics, an easy word that's complex to bring to life. I wanted to ask you before I let you go, anything, Anil, that you've recently read, watched, and or listened to that you would recommend to others?
It's recently I've not had that much time and everything, but what I'll say is that there's a book by John Maxwell, I think, High Road Leadership out there. I don't know the full name out there. I think that's something that's interesting. We're looking at. I frankly am spending more time in really reading about how AI and operations and technology and operations will come together in changing some of the ways that we are doing business out there. Those are a couple of things that I've focused on. Needless to say, I really want to make sure that I'm able to unwind and spend a little bit more time on myself. So, these days, I don't know, Peter, I told you last time or not, Formula One and golf has been a couple of things that I've been focused on, making sure that I can see the use of technology not in both areas to drive longer, to chip better and putt better, and then also making sure that I look at how data is playing a key role in what Formula One industry is going through, and how that sports is picking up around the world. So I watched a Netflix series on that one. So, those are the things that are keeping me busy. But at the same time, I'm spending a little bit more time on advising a couple of companies on what they need to be doing from a long-term perspective. I think I'm more focused on really giving back from a leadership insights perspective and what it takes to be a good leader and stuff like that. So that's where I'm trying to spend a little bit more time as we move forwards. And my recommendation to everybody out there would be to make sure that, doing work is great, but making sure that you're bringing your own self to how you execute at the office and what you do at the work is very, very important. So, that continues to be my practice of that.
Great suggestion, certainly, Anil, and great of you to be giving back, given the number of consequential roles you've now had, so much wisdom to impart upon others, and a lot of wisdom you've shared through this conversation, Anil. I'm grateful, as always, to spend time with you, to learn from you. Thank you for sharing a bit more about all that you've been up to at Norfolk Southern and some of the very exciting things that might be just ahead as well. It's been a great conversation.
No, always pleasure to have a conversation. I really appreciate everything that you're doing to keep us looking at some of the answers and to the questions that you ask, and also how you're keeping the industry and the leaders together in terms of thinking about the next wave of technology and evolution that we're going to go through that place out there. So always pleasure to talk to you, Peter.